Body bags where horror lies.
Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to week 138 here on Body Bags. I am your host Moodz616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yeah, week 138 is here. And I've got a slasher flick for y'all today. This is one that I've wanted to check out for a few years now. It came out in 2012, and yeah, just the name alone wanted to, got me intrigued enough. And I'm a big slasher fan, but finally getting around to checking this one out. Directed by Tieran R. Parsons, who I believe he actually directed the sequel for this too, also. And it's called Hayride. So, yeah. Not really the greatest cover art in the world for this, but I don't know, just the name Hayride intrigues me enough. But yeah, the premise of this film right here is about a guy named Steven and his girlfriend Amanda. They're heading home from college. They live in Alabama, where he lives in Alabama, and he's there for a few days to attend his uncle's. His uncle goes by the name of Captain Morgan's. Basically, what his uncle does, he's got an annual haunted hayride that he puts on every year for like the people in the small town and stuff like that. But this particular year, it doesn't really go as planned. They start doing the ride, and of course, the people, the guests, and the volunteers that are doing the show start getting picked off one by one by a crazy maniac named Pitchfork. And that's your storyline right there. My thoughts on this one. Now we'll start with the good on this film right here. First up, I was really impressed by the director's ability to be very calm with this film, and actually have a lot of character development with your two main leads, Steven and Amanda. I thought there was a lot of really good, kind of chemistry with those characters, but just the character development with them too was quite well done. It felt very natural. A lot of the dialogue and stuff that was, kind of back and forth in the film felt, pretty natural. At times there was maybe a little awkward, but it just had this kind of natural ability to it that was really selling me as a viewer. I was quite impressed with the very likable characters overall. Steve and Amanda, great characters. His uncle, Captain Morgan, played by Richard Tyson, who's like in everything, does a fantastic job. Very, very likable. All his family members and other people that are involved in the film and stuff. Everyone very likable in this film, and it's it's unusual for slasher films to have so many likable characters. Especially with slasher films these days, it always seems like you got all the stereotypes and things like that. So it was kind of a nice breath of fresh air to see like so many likable characters and things like that. It is kind of a slow burn, There's a lot of cool things about this film. Like I said, you get a lot of backstory, and you also get a whole, kind of history of the legend of Pitchfork. Now, Pitchfork was a character that his uncle had created, to tell people, the volunteers and things like that, for his haunted hayride. So, of course, maybe this person comes back to life and things like that. But, you get a whole backstory with Hayride, or with Pitchfork. And I think that's kind of cool. It's about this farmer that, apparently killed his whole family, and they never really found him and things like that. Now, it's not really the most original thing, but it's still kind of cool that you do get all that and things like that. So, there's a lot of things that are going pretty well for this film. Now, to some of the things I didn't really care for about the film, was the simple fact that this one, it's not that I didn't care for it being like kind of a slower film and things like that. The pacing is odd though. It is very odd because things start to pick up at one point about the mid-level of the film, and then it kind of tails off again. So I think there's problems with the pacing just a little bit. But the biggest problem with this movie is that there's a really high body count, which is fine. Just not the greatest kills in the world, which is totally unfortunate because the killer's kind of badass. He's a huge farm boy. He very much looks like Jason from Part 2. He's got the burlap mask on, the potato sack kind of thing. But, he uses cool weapons like chainsaws and machetes and, things like that to kill his victims. But the kills aren't really the greatest. I mean, the blood looks good, but there's just not a lot of it. Kills aren't that original. Kind of really hurt the film, in my opinion. I think with really outrageous and fantastic kills, this one would have really stood out because there was a lot of good acting in the film. A lot of development, good story. Well, I mean, normal story, pretty average story anyways. But yeah, it's just unfortunate the kills didn't really deliver, and it kind of brought down the whole product a little bit for me. And I will say, like, there's a twist at the end of the film, which I saw coming like a million miles away. It didn't really hurt the film for me at all. I just kind of knew that it was going to happen. It's just one of those things. But overall, it's not a bad watch. It's definitely a little slower for people that like their up-tempo type slasher films. Might not be your cup of tea, but, I enjoy films like this where I can kind of, sit there and watch and relate to the characters and not be hating on them the whole fucking time. Like a lot of these slasher films where you just want people to die, just die, die, die. But, it's always nice to have these interactions and things that are, that work in the film. But, it's kind of a shame because, like I said, I think the kills would have amped this thing up big time. With this cool killer and things like that. And, awesome setting, man. I love these type of slasher films that take place on rides, this haunted hayride, which obviously takes place on like a farm and like, in the fields and things like that. I love those settings. I think those are fantastic. They're very simple, kind of storylines and stuff. But yeah, just kind of a shame. But if I had to rate this one, I'm going to give it about a 5.5 out of 10. It's definitely worth the watch. Not disappointed that I watched this by any means, but I really do want to check out the sequel to this film now, right away. So see what they kind of did with the sequel and stuff. But yeah, Hayride, not much more to say about this one. If you're a big slasher fan, give it a shot. I think you might enjoy it, you might not, but yeah, it is what it is. So Hayride, yeah, give it a shot, guys. That's gonna do it for week 138 here on Body Bags. Like always, peace out, homies.